brother-in-law, 19 years old, and his girlfriend, 20 years old, are treating my husband and myself like we are hosting Christmas when he came to us to ask if his girlfriend could come over for Xmas Eve and Xmas. We are not hosting. And now this is an issue. I'm 30 and my husband, 29 years old, have been together 10 years, married 5 of those. The last 3 years, we have been making our own traditions, as my in-laws' dynamic is incredibly toxic, and this is our first home, and we'd like to incorporate a little bit of ourselves into our new traditions. So we now cook for my entire family and ourselves and deliver it throughout the day of the holiday. A couple of weeks ago, my brother-in-law graduated trade school and moved back in with us. He asked us if it was okay if his girlfriend came over on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We said, not a problem. Well, last night, it did become a problem. Brother-in-law's girlfriend is a vegetarian. I put this in quotations as all I've ever seen her eat is mac and cheese and pizza. We decided we're making loaded mashed jalapeno poppers, stuffed mushrooms, deviled eggs, sweet potato casserole, candied yams, and ham. We have in the past tried accommodating brother-in-law's girlfriend's diet in the past, and it was a complete waste of time, as she refused to eat anything we made, all vegetarian-based. So we learned a few months ago we are not catering to her difficult nature. It's not about diet. She's a pain in the ass. Last night, it came up that we don't make mac and cheese. We made the viral tiny mac and cheese for Thanksgiving. We decided to remake the dishes from Thanksgiving that got the most love and compliments, the ones that people most enjoyed. Most of our dishes having lots of cheese in them as well as carbs, we didn't want to add the mac and cheese. This girl lost her crap last night. She raised her voice and kept yelling, "What am I supposed to eat? There's no mac and cheese." She was insistent and berated my brother-in-law until my husband stepped in and reminded her they're adults and could go to the store in the morning to make their own. She didn't like this and continued complaining, so I jumped in and said that there is boxed mac and cheese they can make themselves. She then saw my husband was drinking last night and took it upon herself to tell him to go get her the pink stuff my mom always drinks. I informed her that she is 1, underage, and 2, if she's on medication, she shouldn't mix alcohol with them. She rolled her eyes at me as my brother-in-law pointed to me like, "That's what she said." She then blew me off and continued to talk to my brother-in-law to figure out the pink stuff her mom's always drinking. I want to add that his girlfriend is high-functioning autistic. I'm not sure if this behavior is partially due to that or if she's just a spoiled rotten brat who's never heard no in her entire life, but I do not want this behavior in my household ever again. How the hell can I better navigate this situation while she's still here for the next 2 days? I'm so close to finding a dog-friendly hotel and just going there with my dog and husband until my brother-in-law takes his girlfriend back home. Am I the a-hole for telling him when he takes her home that will be the last time she's welcome here? Or do I keep quiet until he asks if she can spend the night here in the future, to which we can kindly decline? Update. My husband took brother-in-law outside on Wednesday night alone and had a good conversation with him. Husband was actually a bit upset at how well brother-in-law took the fact that they were being told to leave Thursday. He let brother-in-law know him blowing off my texts, saying one thing to his girlfriend, expecting something out of us without communicating. It could have saved him a big, unnecessary problem, and that due to his lack of communication and our plans, they needed to leave. So they left Thursday afternoon. I stopped acknowledging the girlfriend after Thursday morning when I said good morning to the two of them. I'll be honest, I had a lapse in better judgment, and after being blown off as she is looking me directly in my eyes, raised my voice a bit and said, "Okay, I'll just got freaked myself then." We intend on sitting down and having a serious conversation with my brother-in-law when he gets home tomorrow. If anyone has any suggestions or things that stick out to them that they'd not allow to go unaddressed, please let me know. We will be taking him off our Easy Pass. He has a month to get his own phone plan, and he will be paying rent weekly, and then maybe as some time goes on and he can be trusted, we will change that to monthly. He struggled with monthly rent while away at school for whatever the reason may be. Boundaries regarding his girlfriend. Although now that he will be responsible for the tolls, 40-50 each way if he visits, I don't believe he will be bringing her back, as we will only allow 2 nights max per visit. And as of now, boundaries regarding his girlfriend. Although now that he will be responsible for the tolls, 40-50 each way if he visits, I don't believe he will be bringing her back, as we will only allow 2 nights max per visit, and as of now only on weekends, pre-approved, and no last-second changing, a 2-day stay to a 5-day stay, as that isn't tolerated, and they will be asked to leave like they were this time around. The immediate switch for brother-in-law and respect towards me was immediately evident. Ran to get the trash cans out because of the holidays. The days were messed up and he had forgotten. He's only been back 3 weeks. It's understandable. Trash goes out 1 time a week. A change since he last lived with us when it was 2 times a week. And then came inside to ask if he should bring recycling out as well, like jumping to help out after having consequences to his actions. Which was a relief, because it reaffirmed he is willing, and it is just that structure and boundaries he is so lacking and needing. I will try my best to update how our conversation goes. Thank you everyone who took the time to give this post the time of day. Update. Last night, my brother-in-law brought to our attention that his girlfriend is very upset. She doesn't feel we communicate with her or try to get to know her. My husband and I quickly responded that respect and communication work both ways. From the moment I introduced myself to her, his girlfriend has blown me off and hasn't acknowledged me once. I even went so far as to run to a metaphysical shop when I saw her interest in my crystals. I brought all of my crystals, tarot cards, and astrology books down for her to show I was paying attention and listening to her interests. It seems no matter what we do in this situation, we are in the wrong. So halfway through her stay last week, I opted to ignore her. From good morning to no thank you for her gifts or hospitality, no goodbye, the constant demands for alcohol or mac and cheese. We don't know the girl enough to not like her, but I do not like her behavior. It's childish, obnoxious, and demanding. We pointed out how every single time she has come to visit, she has blown both myself and my husband off. I don't understand what it is brother-in-law is asking of us. We're not his parents. It isn't our responsibility to play 21 questions to get to know her, because if I'm being completely honest, I personally do not care. I have enough of my own personal things going on than to be worrying myself with how to carefully try and communicate with my brother-in-law's girlfriend. I don't have an issue communicating. She does. In order for a conversation to take place, 2 parties gotta partake in the conversation. I'm happy. Brother-in-law brought up the conversation regarding respect because I called out his very disrespectful behavior as well as his girlfriend's. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way because here he is demanding we respect his girlfriend, yet hadn't shown an ounce from the moment he moved back in about a month ago. My husband and myself are giving ourselves the day to reflect on the discussion we all had last night, and we'll revisit sometime this weekend. I've already gotten my list of house guidelines, expectations ready going forward. This includes him being responsible for any guests he brings to the house. I also called out the entire mac and cheese ordeal and how inappropriate it was to behave that way. That isn't how adults communicate. Unfortunately, I see his girlfriend being the beginning of his downfall. He begins his dream job next week, and I fear it isn't going to last long due to the demands of his helpless girlfriend. I am a bit peeved this morning, so this update may be a bit judgmental and snippy, but I'm yet again at a loss for words. The audacity? I guess. Update 2. Hey all, it's been a little over a month since my last post, and I figured I'd share the latest update for those who were interested in the outcome of this situation. The beginning of January, my brother-in-law started his dream career. A month to the date after graduating, we are incredibly proud. The only problem? This job is an hour-and-a-half commute one way on a good traffic day. It's a lot of commuting. His first week, he loved it. He was sending my husband pics and videos throughout the week of vehicles that were in the shop he thought were cool, or videos of him learning something new. He's currently doing maintenance work at the dealership he's working at. but intends on furthering his career and continuing his education through work and through other programs offered for different certificates. He leaves at 5:30 every morning and was originally getting home anywhere from 6:45 to 7:30 at night. He works 5 days a week, soon to be 6. His girlfriend lives 2 hours from us, 3 hours from his job. Every Friday, he leaves to visit her, sometimes from work. Other times he comes all the way home to shower. She's in college and I'm assuming he can't shower there, and then makes the trip to her house, leaving him driving minimally 5 hours in just one day. He then comes home Sunday to restart his work week. Due to the above, we have not seen his girlfriend since. It would be an insane amount of driving for my brother-in-law to bring her back home. Why is he responsible for all of the driving, you may ask? She refuses to get her license. Yes, flat out refuses at this point, as it has become a pressing issue in their relationship, and quite honestly, my brother-in-law's overall well-being. In the last 3 weeks, this is what I have noticed and experienced. Brother-in-law has been getting home at 6:15 every day. It's absolutely possible he found the right route and perfect time to have a smooth commute. However, when he gets home, he is flying. We live in a neighborhood that's 25 miles per hour and blasting very loud and angry music. No judgment. I listen to the exact same kind of music. He has been slamming doors, drawers, and cabinets, heavy sighing constantly. And when he was asked about his day and how work was, we were hit annoyedly with boring. He also blasted the same angry kind of music Sunday night, despite knowing my husband and I were in the next room, the living room, watching a movie, just being inconsiderate, some context. And it may sound silly, but he is so to himself and introverted, I honest to God wasn't even sure he listened to music, especially the kind he's been listening to. He also stopped showering daily. What I'm getting at here is all of these things are incredibly out of character for him. Every single night, he has what we all refer to as his appointment with his girlfriend, as she calls every night. With every passing day, his frustration and annoyance regarding these phone calls was becoming glaringly apparent. Things really came to a head when 2 nights ago we asked how work was, and he said, terrible. Enough was enough, and my husband and myself had a much-needed heart-to-heart with my brother-in-law. We expressed our concern for his well-being and recognize he's incredibly overwhelmed. His girlfriend demands he visits her every single weekend, and if he doesn't, she will get really upset. When we asked when he intended to take a self-care day for himself over the last few weeks, my husband vehemently expressed to brother-in-law that if he didn't pick a day to rest, his body would pick for him, and that very rarely ever happens at a convenient time. Brother-in-law stated he didn't want to lie, and it wasn't a valid reason to not visit, to catch up on rest and check in with himself. I shared my top 3 concerns with him. I do not want him, due to lack of rest, getting into a car accident with his long commutes. I don't want him to make a mistake at work and end up injured, or worse, as he works on vehicles. One small mistake, and you can end up squished underneath a car, or ends up getting fired. He's going to lose his crap on his girlfriend, and we know he doesn't want to do that, nor would he mean it. I inquired about his girlfriend getting her license, and he said that she'd consider it. I asked him TF that means. He said he has no idea, very clearly aggravated at the topic, not towards me, the topic itself. I asked him what was stopping her from getting it. She's turning 21 this summer. He told me she's afraid she'll get distracted and crash. I asked what she would get so distracted by that it affected her driving. With some thinking, he says, a dog. I'm pretty sure he is just relaying what it is she's using as excuses, without actually putting any thought into it and just accepting it as fact. I challenged it, and inevitably he agreed that she needed to get her license as he was not going to get a place with her until she does so. I doubt he's had this discussion with his girlfriend yet. That's okay. Yesterday, I did my research for the state she lives in as to how to get her license. Obviously, you must get a permit first. Perfect. I made up about 50 index cards, illustrations included where I could, to help her study for and take her permit test. Unless she goes to driving school, she has to have her permit for 6 months and then can test for her license. Does it solve her driving immediately or as soon as we'd like? No, but I'm hoping that if she's unwilling to even do this, my brother-in-law can wake up and see that this is hardly a relationship and is unsustainable. Last night, I gave him the index cards and explained to him how to go about helping her. I also expressed that despite the pushback and resistance he'd receive, he is not to back down, as he isn't pushing her license. He's asking her to get her permit, which would be a step towards her being able to get her license. She refuses to get her license right now? So be it. She can get her permit. It's an 18-question test, and you need 15 correct to pass. No driving involved. If she is unwilling to do this, I'm hoping he can see this isn't the person for him. He needs a partnership, not a dependent. After our first conversation this week, the heart-to-heart, things became much lighter in my home. My brother-in-law was more cheerful and talkative and not so reserved, to himself, or isolating essentially. Then after last night's conversation, I asked when his appointment was. When I tell you, his response contained more freaking than any other words. To be honest, I'm not even sure what he said other than F-bombing every other word, clearly getting fed up. He explained he's told her he's going to shower and eat, but yet again, her call interrupted him mid-dinner, and rather than just letting it ring her angrily, got up and went to his bedroom. That was at 8:15, and he never came back out of his room. This is the norm, and a huge part of the reason he is sleep-deprived, as well as not taking any time for himself. He also shared how his girlfriend says he has terrible taste in vehicles, which seemed to upset my brother-in-law when he told me. I pointed out, how the hell does she know anything about cars? She refuses to drive? And he got all excited, and I guess was validated and reassured because he was like, right? Exactly. Then the phone call came, and away he went. I'm hoping in the next few weeks we can help him understand and establish appropriate and healthy boundaries for himself. I don't know why he's answering those calls when his girlfriend talks to him like that. I'll be sure to update if there's any progress on his girlfriend's end, but I doubt there will be, and hope that if that is the case, my brother-in-law is capable of doing what's best for himself. Update 3. The last month has been up and down. About 3 weeks ago, we really established healthy, open communication between myself, my husband, and my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law has gotten a promotion and another certificate under his belt since my last update. He is really just going after this crap, and I'm impressed and incredibly proud. We make sure to celebrate these things. I had made him cupcakes the week he got the certificate and promotion. He was in such a rush to get to his girlfriend's, I'm not sure he even fully processed we had made cupcakes exclusively for his accomplishments. In the last month, we have noticed a significant shift in his usual behavior. For instance, he stopped showering daily. As long as I have known him, despite doing nothing or working all day, he was a daily showerer. Recently, maybe 3, sometimes 2 times a week, coming home with a face covered in grease from work. He had thrown up in a trash bin in his bedroom almost 2 weeks ago. He decided to drink a little and learned a lesson that day and ended up sick. I smelled vomit so strongly today, and it crossed my mind that maybe he never threw it away. Turns out I was right. He threw it out tonight, and he's currently airing his room out as we air out the first floor. He's left what my husband refers to as beached whales in the toilet bowl. Not just once, this is a weekly occurrence I'm greeted with some mornings. What I am getting at is he is clearly distracted. Not how he has inconvenienced me or my husband, but his well-being. He is neglecting himself in more ways daily, and finally tonight we had a breakthrough. I'm going to be honest. Some people had brought up these concerns, but I thought they were a bit dramatic and not really in the realm of possibilities. But unfortunately, it is a lot worse than I had imagined. Tonight, my husband finally brought the concern of him neglecting his well-being recently up to him. He also shared that we know something has been weighing heavy on him, and that he may not want to talk to us now or us at all, but just know that we are always here. He said he doesn't feel warmth or love from the people he loves. This could possibly be directed towards us as well, but the conversation went right into his relationship. Per brother-in-law. We allowed him to just speak and express his feelings. He has no idea what it is he's really feeling, aside from numb. This ended up being about a 3.5 hour talk with the three of us. For those unfamiliar, or who don't feel like reading the past posts, I get it, it's a lot, and quite honestly, I'm a bit embarrassed by my own reactions to what happened in the past, aka the original post with this title, but have tried my best to learn from it. My brother-in-law moved back in with my husband and I after graduating school in a neighboring state. While out there, he met and started dating his first girlfriend. I am unsure if this is her first relationship or not. They decided to try and make it work long distance. With the aforementioned promotion my brother-in-law recently got, he is now working 6 days a week instead of a regular 40-hour week. He commutes anywhere from 15 to 30 hours a week, just with work. He is living here for multitudes of reasons, so please do not suggest he move closer to work. That is not the root of his very real and consuming problem. His girlfriend lives 2 hours away from us, 3.5 hours from his job. Since moving back home in December, his girlfriend made it a point that he must visit every weekend. He obliged, and then inevitably the toll of his very busy work life was becoming clearer by the day, as well as the unrealistic demands of his girlfriend. My husband and I were aware of the unsustainability of this situation, and as painful as this has been to watch the last couple of months, our biggest and main concern was his well-being, getting enough sleep, not getting hurt driving or at work. I can't even bother with any more context. Let me just get to the point, and hopefully someone will have some advice or perspective to share to help my brother-in-law navigate this incredibly toxic, bordering, abusive, codependent relationship he is currently in. 2 weekends ago, my brother-in-law, for the first time since moving in, opted to stay home for his last full weekend off of work. I have no idea the extent nor the details of what type of reaction he received from his girlfriend, because he just keeps saying she gets sad. Finally tonight, after letting him express himself for a good 45 minutes uninterrupted, he finally shared that she threatens self-harm. He has shared his feelings, or lack thereof, regarding his girlfriend with his girlfriend lately, and she urged him to 1. Get a therapist, and 2. Speak to myself and my husband to help him find a therapist. So funny enough, this behavior is incredibly freaking familiar to me, as I behaved similarly at that age. I have borderline personality disorder, no excuses. Just a diagnosis that played a huge role in my behaviors and lack of emotional regulation and maturity. I am now so grateful for what in butthole I behaved like, because I understand it from the other side. But that's what is scaring the hell out of me as well. I did ask him if she has borderline. He said she thinks she does. If I'm being honest, I think there is a lot of self-diagnosing happening, more so than legitimate diagnosis. Something has been off to me this entire time, and tonight just solidified the uneasiness I've been feeling. I explained to him that if he is ever truly concerned for her well-being, being over 100 miles away from her, he could always call a wellness check. This is clearly not healthy. He said he feels as if he just isn't doing enough or can't do anything right in regards to his girlfriend. He shared when he goes to visit her, he folds her laundry and takes her grocery shopping. I pointed out how kind that is of him, considering what long, hard weeks he works. I then asked him what she does for him. He sat and pondered, hand on chin and all, then said, "That's a really good question." I responded it wasn't necessarily to be answered right there and then, but rather something for him to maybe put some thought into. He eagerly agreed. I asked if he was leaning towards making it work or if he was ready to throw in the towel. He is flip-flopping, but if I'm being honest, I think he's done, and is just consumed by guilt and this emotional coercion. I have therapy first thing in the morning and asked him if it was okay if I asked my therapist for some advice. He was happy and said yes, thank you. As soon as his insurance kicks in, we will be helping him find a therapist, which is in a few weeks. Until then, it's myself and my husband. I am even more concerned for his well-being than I was previously. Please, if you have any advice, experience, or perspective, please share it here. Thank you to anyone who took the time to read this.